My wife secretly enrolled her kids in private school, using money from my mother's medical fund. When confronted, she said, "My dying mother should sacrifice for her step-grandchildren's future. Throw away because my cousin follows my main and I don't want this tied to my day job." On mobile, forgive any formatting weirdness. Some names, places, and amounts are adjusted for privacy, but the core events happened exactly like this. No updates, no edits. I'm writing this once because I need it out of my system, and maybe some other guy will read it and realize his instincts aren't overreacting when something feels off. My name is Caleb, 35 male, Northeast Ohio. I keep the county's plow trucks and salt spreaders alive out of a cinder block garage. If a hydraulic line sweats in January, my phone chirps before sunrise. My hands look like they tried to sand a driveway. My boots smell like diesel and road brine. And my favorite sound is a stubborn bolt finally giving up. I'm not special. I'm steady. My mom is Elaine. She can make boxed pasta taste like Sunday dinner on purpose and has a quiet sense of humor that sneaks up on you. A year ago, she was diagnosed with advanced ovarian cancer. We learned new words, learned to nod at charts, learned that hope lives in small details. There's a trial in Cleveland. Real science, real timing, real shot at everything when the clock feels loud. So I built the fund. Capital F. Every overtime hour, every brake job in my shed after dinner, the old snowblower I rebuilt and sold, every bit slid into a dedicated account at Lakeview Credit Union. I printed a big thermometer sheet and taped it to Mom's fridge. Looked silly. Worked. I colored it in with a blue marker after every deposit. When I got sloppy, Mom would color inside the lines and tease me. The goal, $66,900 for the trial deposit and first week of expenses. By mid-August, we hit $60,850. Due date circled on the calendar, August 22nd. It sat in my head like a torque spec. Not a suggestion, a number you respect. I married Renee 4 years ago. She came with 2 kids, Brielle, 12, and Micah, 10. Their dad's the kind who can picture a future where he's always promising and never paying. I never tried to replace him, just be the adult who shows up. Orthodontist drop-offs, science fair panics, sock hunts at 7:12 a.m., the steady, boring stuff that keeps a house from wobbling. Renee works front desk at a boutique salon that sells glow as a lifestyle. There's a neon shine on sign, and every time I walk in, I feel like I'm standing inside an ad. She's got a taste for labels, quotes about high standards, and anything with the word luxe written where a price should be. I told myself that was a quirk that would settle down. Hope is an unreliable accountant. From the start, Renee knew about the fund. I told her it was my line I wouldn't cross. Not for vacations, not for home projects, not for we'll pay it back later. I wrote Trial Funda Mom on the account nickname. Said the rules out loud. She nodded, made a little Instagram story with butterflies and Elaine's fight, handed Mom a mug that said Warrior with a glitter handle. Money in our house wasn't complicated. I pay mortgage, utilities, groceries, and the unglamorous middle. Tires, cleats, dentist, broken drawer slides. Renee handles the fun stuff. Seasonal decor, matching pajama photos, subscription boxes promising a better morning in tasteful colors. I didn't police it because I thought keeping the fun sacred was the main job. If you're shaking your head, you're smarter than I was. I trusted a line drawn out loud to be strong as a line written down. My parents split when I was 9. Dad moved 3 towns away and taught me by absence how to be present. Mom worked mornings at a clinic, nights stocking shelves. I learned early that if something broke and you waited for help, the waiting would eat you. A neighbor let me sweep his repair shop floors in exchange for watching things come apart and go back together. He'd say, "Everything tells you what it needs if you learn how to listen." Sounded simple. Still is, just not easy. That's my personality. Not clever, not dazzling, patient. I carry stress in silence, which looks like distance if you don't know me. I'd rather fix a hinge than talk about feelings. The reason I'm writing this is because the hinge in my house was feelings, and I kept hoping a little oil would do it. The fun taught me to put numbers on feelings. Every blue line I colored made me feel steadier. When I saw people online clapping for matching outfits and weekend trips bought with deferred bills, I felt the opposite. Small deposits are quiet declarations. A lot of them, in a row, say who you are without a speech. It's strange to say a bank account taught me anything, but it did. It was a Tuesday. Thick air, the kind of heat that makes even asphalt look tired. I was under a grater when my chest pocket buzzed 3 times like a trapped hornet. Lakeview. Withdrawal. $20,400. Lakeview. Withdrawal. $22,700. Lakeview. Payment pending. Hawthorne Ridge Academy. For a second, the numbers didn't make sense. Then, my stomach did the elevator drop, and my ears started ringing. I called the credit union. The person was kind in that careful way you use when you don't know which part of the caller is on fire. The transactions were authorized from my login with two-factor authentication. I said I was lying under county equipment, not at a computer. They suggested filing a police report if it was domestic. I drove home still in my coveralls. Renee was in the kitchen writing Brielle in bubble letters on a metal lunchbox. On the table, two blazers with crests, plaid skirts, leather shoes that already looked proud of themselves, and a glossy brochure with a campus photo so polished it could see its own reflection. "What did you do?" I asked, too evenly. "The way you talk to a hydraulic jack when it's slipping." Renee smiled like a campaign poster. "I enrolled the kids at Hawthorne Ridge. We talked about wanting the best for them. Public school is baseline. This is investment. You use the fund. My mom's trial money." She didn't blink. "Your mom is almost 60, Caleb. She had her life. Our kids are just starting. You need to be a man and prioritize your household. Stop letting your mom's situation manipulate you." I felt something cold climb up my arms. She's not manipulating me. There's a deposit due. We're days away. Then it's unfortunate timing. Doors open and close. I made a decision because somebody had to lead. Later, she told Brielle and Micah, loud enough for me to hear, "We are going to a school that values excellence because I fought for you." At 8:30, my phone started buzzing with screenshots. Instagram post, Renee posing with uniforms, captioned, "Hard choices today. Strong moms make them. Generational cycles end here." Comments were crowns and sparkles and words like queen and manifest. Someone forwarded a thread where she wrote, "Some men think saving means hoarding. They don't understand investing in children. His mother keeps him small with guilt." That sentence sat on my tongue like metal. "Refund it," I said. "Call them. Reverse whatever you did." Renee laughed once without humor. "Deposits are non-refundable. It's done." Her social feed that evening read like a campaign. Story with the kids holding a Hawthorne Ridge pennant. When a mother believes, doors open. She put up a poll. Would you invest in your children's future even if it meant making unpopular choices? The options were obviously, and of course. Brielle asked if the school had robotics club. Micah asked about cinnamon rolls like in the brochure picture. Renee answered fast, full of details she hadn't verified, talking about uniforms and college trajectories, like the brochure had whispered secrets to her. Around 10 p.m., Renee sent a text to the family group chat with the acceptance email. She wrote, "We did it. I looked at the we longer than I should have. I wanted to be part of we. I just wanted we to include my mom's chance. Ohio is one-party consent. I checked before making coffee the next morning because I couldn't trust memory to save me. I set my phone on the table, hit record, and asked, 'Why did you use the fund?' Renee said, clear as a bell, 'Because your dying mother should sacrifice for her grandchildren's future.' You could hear her pen clicking in the recording. I almost dropped the phone. I printed everything. Bank statements with the withdrawals highlighted. The ACH authorization with my routing number lifted from our checkbook drawer, and a scribbled signature that looked like a toddler wrote it while riding in a truck. An email from Hawthorne Ridge Admissions, "Welcome," with a confetti gif. A second email thanking our family for joining the Parent Alliance at $2,450. A uniform receipt for $2,180 that included 2 extra sweaters and a leather belt nobody asked for. I took screenshots of Renee's posts. Screenshots of comments where she told people I was cheap and didn't value education. Someone forwarded me a message from the HRA Moms 25 chat where she wrote, "He's stuck in small-town thinking. I had to step up." I saved it all in a folder called Court and made a paper binder because pixels go missing and paper stays heavy. I drove to Hawthorne Ridge. The building has columns like a courthouse and a bell that rings even when nobody's outside, like it's reminding the air that it exists. I explained calmly, unauthorized payments from a medical fund, forgery of consent, demand to hold all actions. The admissions person's professional smile disappeared. "We will loop in legal. Deposits are not typically refundable." I said the word fraud like it was a torque spec, slow and exact. They stopped saying what was typical. Then I went to my lawyer. I put the binder on the desk. My lawyer read quietly, asked 3 questions, and said, "We're filing emergency motions for a financial restraining order, exclusive control of the medical account, and orders to bar the school from processing funds. We'll also file a police report because the bank will want the number." The sentences landed like lug nuts in a tray. At Lakeview, I sat with a person who looked like they keep candy on the desk so people have a place to put their hands. We flagged the account, moved the remaining balance to a brand new number with no online access, and turned off the old login. I set up two-factor with an authenticator instead of text. I left with gray box transaction printouts and the nasty calm that follows a decision. Back home, Renee was filming a story beside the salon's neon sign. Sometimes leadership isn't popular. I choose excellence for my babies. Someone had added a sparkle filter. I saved it. Screenshots don't forget. I stopped at my mom's. She was watching a show about people repairing old houses. She muted it, looked at my face, and said, "What happened?" I told her enough to be honest, and not so much to drain her. She rubbed my knuckles like when I was a kid and scraped them on a fence. She said, "We will keep going." She didn't ask me to forgive anything. She didn't ask me to be kinder than the facts. That helped more than any speech would have. My lawyer explained the difference between a regular fight and an emergency. Emergencies are about stopping harm, not solving every part of the problem. We wrote the motions like sandbags. The police report went into a stack with numbers that linked to other numbers. I used to think reports were for people who wanted to make noise. Now I understand they're bridges you'll need to walk later. That night, I wrote down the names of everything we spend money on in a normal week. Bread, milk, fuel, laundry cards for my mom's building, the kids' club fees. Dad jokes for the group chat cost nothing, but I noted them too, because I need to remember there's still good in the air, even when the ledger looks like a battlefield. Emergency hearing landed fast. Renee arrived in a cream blazer 2 sizes too ambitious and a gold necklace that said, "Mama," like a brand. She carried a planner with pastel tabs and a pen that clicked like a metronome. Her lawyer did the song about controlling husbands, withheld resources, and children's futures. They called the trial speculative. They used words like opportunity for school and uncertainty for medicine, like the universe has ever guaranteed anything important. My lawyer laid out paper, bank statements, ACH forms, the school emails, the parent alliance contribution, the uniform invoice, the screenshot where Renee said my mom manipulates me, the group chat where she called me small, the letter from my mom's oncologist spelling out the deposit deadline and the risk of missing the cohort, the audio clip, when the sentence played, "Because your dying mother should sacrifice for her grandchildren's future," the room went quiet in that special way where you can hear someone else swallow. The judge looked at Renee and asked if she made those transfers. She said she allocated household resources toward education. The judge asked if I had consented. She said she had to lead because I was stuck in grief. The judge asked nothing else. Orders. Immediate financial restraining order. Exclusive control of the trial fund to me. Hawthorne Ridge barred from processing any funds linked to our household unless I consent in writing. A forensic review of the withdrawals. And a directive that Renee not post about the case or my mother online. The judge said, "Ma'am, the internet is evidence," in a tone I wish I could bottle and keep above my toolbox. On the steps, Renee said, "You embarrassed me." I said nothing. I had the order in one hand and my binder in the other, which were the only two things I wanted to be holding. Hawthorne Ridge's legal wrote the next day, "Enrollment is on hold pending verification of consent. No further payments will be processed. Corporate short for please keep your storm cloud away from our bell tower." Renee posted anyway, a story about gatekeepers and people who hate excellence. I forwarded it to my lawyer because sometimes the most exhausting part of a problem is that it insists on narrating itself. The courtroom was cool like a basement. The bailiff called our names without any extra energy. People in the benches looked down at phones, up at ceilings, and sideways at nothing in particular. Emergency dockets gather strangers who all think their problem is the loudest. In my head, mine was. Then a couple argued about a car title in whispers that sounded sharp. A landlord and a tenant stared past each other like windows. A teenager sat with an older woman and read a paperback, the page turning like a small clock. When the judge asked about the trial, my lawyer did not make it emotional. My lawyer used a date, a number, and a sentence from the doctor's letter that sounded like a spec sheet. The judge nodded. The judge looked at Renee the way you look at a machine that is making a tapping sound you cannot ignore. I saw the moment Renee tried to switch to charm, the smile she uses on salon clients when they are upset about a scheduling mistake. It slid off the room like water off wax paper. When we walked out with the order, I felt a weird mix of fury and relief. Fury because I hated that a judge had to tell a school not to accept money for plaid uniforms out of a medical fund. Relief because finally, there was something outside of my mouth saying no. I took a picture of the case number on the order and sent it to the credit union contact and the admissions email. Subject line, court order attached. You cannot assume anyone will connect the dots for you. You have to draw the line with a marker. I closed every joint card and every convenience that turned my work into somebody else's stage. The salon's employee family discount account, where Renee quietly bought gift cards and traded them for cash, closed. A store credit card that only ever bought throw blankets and jars, closed. The app with the monthly box of curated lifestyle items that stacked up unused in the hall closet, canceled. Then the bigger one. I called the car dealer. Renee had reserved a used crossover with a small deposit, planning to roll it into a loan by listing me as a co-signer. I faxed the restraining order and the police report number. The sales manager shut the file. Renee posted a story of her old car and typed, "I still rise." I scrolled past it and took pictures of my mom's insurance card, the trial appointment letter, and the hotel reservation. Useful paper beats pretty words 9 days out of 10. At the credit union, the ACH disputes entered the formal timeline. I learned the windows like they were mechanical clearances. File within X days, bank investigates for Y, provisional credits land or don't, opposing party has Z days to respond. I set reminders on my phone with labels in all caps. I have never been more grateful for the part of my brain that likes torque specs. I pulled my name off the auto policy and had the carrier issue Renee her own. Premiums do math even when people don't. I changed the garage keypad, reset the Wi-Fi, unplugged an old tablet that liked to remember things it shouldn't, and moved original documents into a small safe at my mom's place. I forwarded any mail with my name to a box the size of a shoebox at the post office. None of this is cinematic. All of it keeps your footing when the floor tries to move. Child support enforcement is not fast, but it is patient. I sent them screenshots of Darren posting his training rates and daily schedule. They don't care about captions. They care about numbers. They scheduled a review. A wage withholding order followed. Darren texted Renee many exclamation points and a claim that I had interfered with his life. His life had been interfering with two small people's shoes and lunch accounts for years. The system finally noticed. Renee's salon trimmed her hours after a client complained about appearing in the background of a video. She posted a long thing about resilience and then texted me, "You are petty." I replied once, "Comply with the order." She wrote a paragraph and I didn't answer. The exit ramp away from arguments is shorter than you think when you let silence do the work. The credit union's provisional credits posted the morning of August 20th. Hawthorne Ridge's accounting department returned the Parent Alliance contribution and voided the uniform purchase after their counsel saw the order and the forged consent. The number in the fund jumped like a needle moving out of the red. I made the deposit that afternoon. The confirmation printed, warm at the edge, a small rectangle that might as well have weighed 20 pounds. I took it to my mom's kitchen and slid it under a magnet shaped like a lighthouse. We don't live near the ocean. We keep a lighthouse anyway. It reminds you that light can do its job even in a place that doesn't look like it needs one. We drove to Cleveland before dawn on August 22nd. My mom wore a soft sweatshirt and held a small blanket on her lap. We didn't talk much on the highway. Sometimes silence feels like respect. Check-in was gentle. The person behind the desk handed us a clipboard and spoke like they'd done this 1,000 times without becoming numb. My mom squeezed my hand before they took her back. I sat in a chair and watched the second hand tick and counted the breaths I was not taking. She came out tired, quieter, but with that same look she had when she used to watch me line up my toy trucks, proud in a way that makes your throat clamp. We drove home with the radio low and the windows cracked. I dropped her off, checked the porch light bulb, and stood on the front step an extra minute to breathe air that felt like a promise kept. Maintenance mode looks boring from the outside. It is anything but. It is getting up early to print statements so you see numbers on paper, and not just in a glowing rectangle. It is taking a picture of the back of your insurance card, because somehow that's the side you need in line. It is labeling a folder usernames and writing them down by hand, because you refuse to give a cloud more power than your own desk. I also cleaned our shared digital life, a streaming service I forgot we had because the remote never landed on it, an app that delivered smoothies in little cups, and then billed us like we owned a small franchise, a membership that sent wellness items we never opened. None of those by themselves sink a house. Together, they make the bilge pump wine. I brought my work habits home. I color-coded the binder tabs like I color-code wiring. Green for accounts, red for orders, blue for evidence, yellow for communication. I kept a log. Date. What happened. What I sent. Who received it. What I'm waiting for. When my head tried to run ahead and imagine arguments, I forced it back to the log. What do I have to do next? Is a better question than, how could this happen? The second one choose time. The first one moves the day. I also told 2 friends. Not for advice. for accountability. One friend from the garage, one friend from Rec League. I said, "If you see me spin out, tell me to look at the binder." They did. A text with a wrench emoji, and I'd breathe again. Chapter 6. The begging begins, and the line I drew with a pen. Once the school hold became a no, the mom chat turned. The same people who had posted crowns changed to question marks. The planner brand she loved sent a polite message about compliance and kindly asked not to be tagged in legal matters. Renee called me from the salon parking lot. "They cut my hours," she said. "This is your fault." I reminded her of the order. She hung up. Then the practical problems arrived. The local public school needed updated residency paperwork because Renee had put in transfer forms for Hawthorne Ridge and let her old documentation lapse. She texted me 6 times in 1 hour, each message with more capital letters. I emailed the registrar, attached the court order, sent utility bills with my name and the address, and got Brielle and Micah slotted into orientation the next day. Paper again. Not feelings, not speeches. Paper. Renee's car began knocking. She sent me a video, the hood open, the phone mic picking up the tap. I could hear pre-ignition and an angry lifter. She asked me to fix it. I said, "Take it to a shop." She said she didn't have the money. I said I would cover the kids' bus passes, lunches, and supply lists directly to the school and the vendors. She said I was being controlling. I repeated myself. Direct, not cash. Needs, not lifestyle. The Lexus didn't happen. The dealer kept the vehicle, and the deposit became part of the ACH reversal, whether they liked it or not. Renee posted a caption about being blocked and choosing grace. Less engagement this time. The crowd had moved on to a fall candle sale. Child support enforcement sent Darren a new number with a start date. He sent Renee a message that contained a lot of blaming and none of the children's names. He called me a snitch to a group chat that has a mascot in its avatar. I didn't reply. I save my replies for bills that have due dates and people who sleep under my roof. I set up a grocery delivery for the kids. Bread, turkey, cheese, apples, carrots, yogurt, oatmeal, peanut butter, a treat or two, because you cannot run a house on fiber alone. I sent the receipt through the court app. I paid the electric bill directly. I kept repeating the sentence. I will support the kids. Not your spending. Then the call came, late evening, after a long day where I rebuilt a salt controller and reset the alignment on a plow frame that a curb disliked. Renee's voice was smaller. "Please," she said. "I'm short on rent. The landlord is going to file. Please help us." I said I would pay the portion that kept Brielle and Micah housed directly to the landlord. I said I would continue to pay for needs directly to sources. I said I would not transfer cash. I said to stop talking about my mom. I told her to text me only about the kids. I was not cruel in tone. The cruelty, if there was any, was in the part where I stopped being the cushion under her choices. Renee texted me a photo of the kids at the table with the groceries I ordered. "Thank you," she wrote. No exclamation marks. Then, 10 minutes later, "Can you also send me money for gas?" I did not answer. The line was drawn, and lines do not do their job if you turn them into suggestions when someone knocks. Brielle texted me a picture of her binder with dividers. "First day was okay," she wrote. Micah sent me a photo of the bus stop with a caption about how early it felt. I kept those. Small proof prints that the day-to-day can keep moving, even when a big thing tried to rearrange the furniture. School orientation day was a reminder that kids adapt faster than adults think. Brielle found the robotics table in 5 minutes and asked a volunteer 3 questions I didn't understand, and then turned and translated them to me like a language she was teaching. Micah spotted a poster for intramural soccer and signed his name on a clipboard like he was giving an autograph nobody asked for yet. The counselor walked us through a schedule and circled a tutoring hour that fit our bus time. I filled out forms that asked the same questions 4 different ways and answered them 4 different times, because forms do not care about your feeling that you already wrote this. I mapped the bus route on paper and taped to the wall above the shoe rack. I put dots where they should stand when the sidewalk gets slick. I wrote times next to the dots. Micah asked why I do that. I said, "Because it helps your feet be where your head wants to be." He shrugged in the way 10-year-olds shrug and then traced the dots with his finger anyway. When the knocking in Renee's car turned into a light, she parked it and borrowed rides from a friend. She called to say the shop quoted a number she didn't like. I told her the same thing I told myself. Numbers don't care about feelings. Fix it or park it. She called me harsh. I didn't answer the adjective. I repeated the verbs. The grocery deliveries became a small routine. I added bananas after Micah texted me a banana emoji with 3 exclamation marks like a code. I swapped yogurt flavors when Brielle said the texture of the other one was like glue. I asked the delivery driver to leave the bags by the door and not ring, because sometimes ringing turns routine into argument. I tipped well, because that driver stood out in the rain while an adult in the house decided if help was something she could accept without turning it into a speech. You want revenge. I know because the messages guys send me always end with, I'd have done something wild. That's one way. It's not the way that lets you sleep. I work with metal and moving parts. I've seen what happens when someone swings hard with the wrong tool. My revenge was paper, precision, and patience. It was closing doors slowly and letting consequences sit a while. I removed my name from anything that wasn't directly tied to the kids or the house I still pay for because the court said so. Phone line, separated. Streaming, gone. The salon discount account, closed. Old store card with a balance she kept alive buying seasonal plates, paid and terminated. The monthly box that delivered 3 tiny items in a big box with shredded paper and a note that said, treat yourself, canceled with a written confirmation saved as a PDF. I filed a civil claim for conversion, covering the amounts she yanked from the fund, plus fees. I filed for attorney fees. I filed to separate taxes. I placed fraud alerts with the bureaus. I printed my credit reports and went line by line with a highlighter like I was checking lug nuts. I found a small store card opened in my name 6 months ago and closed it with a letter sent certified. I kept copies. I labeled envelopes. I did not raise my voice. I wrote a budget on one page and taped it to the inside of my mom's cabinet. Bus passes, lunches, supplies, tutoring, sports fees, shoes, field trips, birthdays. When a new request came in, I matched it to the list. If it fit, I paid it. If it didn't, I wrote back, not now. It wasn't a performance. It was a plan for not letting chaos wear my face. I emailed Hawthorne Ridge one last time with the final bank letters attached. Remove my name from all records. They replied, confirmed. I printed it, 3 holes punched, slid into the binder. That binder is not a trophy. It is the record that I did not let someone turn my mom's last best chance into a campus tour for a bell tower. Renee posted one more time about her setting. The comments were fewer, softer. The crowd prefers shiny beginnings. They lose interest in middles. Her salon listed an opening at the front desk. It did not include her name. She texted, everyone thinks I'm trouble now. I wrote back, be steady for the kids. She replied, you broke up our family. I didn't engage. A sentence can be a hook. You do not have to bite. 2 weeks into school, my phone rang. The landlord again. Another shortfall. I paid the exact amount to keep papers from being filed directly and wrote for children's housing in the note line. I sent the screenshot through the court app and put the receipt behind the tab in the binder that says, housing. Practical kindness isn't glamorous. It keeps smaller people from paying the highest price for adult choices. The ACH reversal's finalized. The civil claim got a date. Child support started pulling from Darren's checks. He posted fewer flexes and more motivational quotes about overcoming obstacles. My mom finished the first cycle of the trial. She was exhausted. We celebrated with takeout that tasted like salt and relief. I cleaned her gutters the next day and found a small blue bead in the downspout from a wind chime she made years ago. I kept it in my pocket. One Saturday, Brielle asked if she could come over and make pancakes with my mom. Micah wanted to bring a kit to build a small crane. We did both. The pancakes were imperfect circles because my mom's hands shake and nobody rated them. The crane tipped until we added weight to the base. We talked about why that worked, and Micah nodded like he was filing it away for later. When I dropped them back, Renee came out to the porch. No blazer, no planner. Just a person who looked like weather had been leaning on her for a while. She said, thank you for helping with rent. Thank you for the groceries. I was wrong about your mom. I told Brielle and Micah to go inside. I said to Renee, don't talk about her again. Show them steadiness. That's all. She nodded. For once, no speech. There were moments I wanted to type a speech and hit send. I wrote them in a notes app and then deleted them after a meal and a night's sleep. Write, wait, reread, delete. Action beats announcement. That became a private rule. The world doesn't need my monologues. My kids need their lunches funded and their bus passes loaded. My mom needs a ride in a chair near a window after appointments. When people say be a man, they mean very different things. I decided for myself that it meant, do not let temporary praise pull you from permanent duties. If someone calls you cheap because you won't finance their performance, be cheap. If someone calls you small because you won't step into a spotlight that blinds you to your obligations, be small. Small in my version means I know exactly where my feet are. My last conversation with Renee about the fund was short. She said, if you loved me, you'd invest in us, not just your mother. I said, I am investing in who I am. If I lose that, there is no us worth having. I didn't say it to sound wise. I said it because it was the only sentence that made sense under the weight of the facts. After the first cycle, my mom slept for almost an afternoon. I fixed a loose cabinet door and replaced 2 bulbs in her hallway. She woke up and asked why the light felt different. I told her I bought warm bulbs because the cool ones made the hall look like an office. She said, "Thank you for seeing things." It sounded like a small sentence. It felt like someone placed a steadying hand on the small of my back, right when my balance wobbled. There's no parade at the end of this. Just the kind of quiet that comes when the machine you maintain stops making the noise that had you worried, and you can finally hear the normal hum again. That hum is not exciting. It is priceless. If you read this far, here's the part I needed someone to tell me. You can love people and still build fences. You can be decent and still say no. You can be a man without lighting your life on fire to prove a point. The revenge that works isn't loud. It's a binder. It's a court order. It's the quiet refusal to carry someone else's show on your back. When the begging started, I helped the kids and only the kids. I let Renee feel what it's like when choices are yours and so are the invoices. The last thing I did was take down the thermometer sheet from my mom's fridge. We hit the number, we made the deposit, and the blue marker reached the top. I folded it and put it in the binder behind the tab that says Fund. Then I took a blank sheet and wrote a new list. Doctor dates, oil changes, water bill, school concerts, tire rotations, garbage day. Ordinary life. The kind that keeps you busy and grateful. The kind that waits for you when you fight for something and still have to take the trash to the street on Wednesdays. Throwaway or not, this is me. Done. If you're a guy standing in his kitchen holding a phone with a bank alert, make a list. Get a lawyer. Stop arguing in rooms where the other person enjoys the echo. Save every screenshot. Do the quiet work. When the day comes that someone asks you for help after they called you small, help the kids and keep your boundary. You will sleep. Your mom will get her shot. And the sound you'll remember won't be a bell at a private school. It'll be a stubborn bolt finally giving. Cleanly.